I apologize for showing up unannounced. I've been trying to call your staff. They won't return my phone calls. So let me ask you, after your comments about the president, do you feel that voters are owed a better explanation than just, I misspoke?
I think that as I stand by my statement, then I misspoke and I apologize.
Okay, and who are you apologizing to?
I stand by my statement that I misspoke and I apologize.
I apologize. We talk to you all the time. You're a very forthcoming guy. Who's telling you not to talk and to handle it like that?
I stand by my statement there, as you have, and I misspoke and I apologize.
Was it that you thought it would go over well in Elbert County where folks are very conservative and you'd never say something like that in the suburbs?
I stand by my statement that I misspoke and I apologize.
Is there anything that I can ask you that you'll answer differently?
I stand by my statement that I misspoke and I apologize.
Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you.
There's a deeper love inside that finds us, and it's everywhere you go. You see it in the eyes.
America's possibilities are limitless, for we possess all the qualities that this world without boundaries demands.
The voices of the children, and a language that we all
diversity and openness, an endless capacity for risk, and a gift for reinvention. My fellow Americans, we are made for this moment, and we will seize it so long as we seize it together.
We are one.
For we,
Individual differences and preferences,
understand that our country cannot succeed when a shrinking few do very well and a growing many barely make it. We, the people, still believe that every citizen deserves basic measure of security and dignity. We, the people, still believe that our obligations as Americans are not just to ourselves, but to all posterity. We, the people, still believe that enduring security and lasting peace do not require perpetual war. We, the people, declare today that the most evident of truths, that all of us are created equal, is the star that guides us still. Just as it guided our forebears through Seneca Falls and Selma and Stonewall, just as it guided all those men and women, sung and unsung, who left footprints along this great mall, to hear a preacher say that we cannot walk alone. To hear a king proclaim that our individual freedom is inextricably bound to the freedom of every soul on earth.
Yes, indeed. Hello, Twitter. Hello, Google. Hello, Facebook, YouTube, Internet, listeners all around the world. And welcome to Let's Talk About It, Spreaker's most informative show. The 2012, you boys are winners of that award. Okay? All right. So, are you ready to talk about it? I am ready to talk about it, and we've got a lot to talk about, y'all. Okay, I'm your host, the wild and wonderful Brenda White, coming to you live from the city beautiful Orlando, Florida. And joining me in about a half an hour or so will be my co-host, the uppity and well-read Jacqueline Lambert, aka Miss Uppity Speaks. Also joining me on the line will be three advocates. Starting with Ethel Lopez and two other guests, Sam and Cliff, who were in this organization. And our subject tonight that we're talking about and doing this interview about is called Free the IRP6. Okay? If you don't know what the IRP6 is, I'm going to give you a little catch up, a little update and all of that before we get my guest on the line, Ethel Lopez, and her cohorts, okay? Sam and Cliff. I almost said Sam and Dave. I'm not talking about George Zimmerman. If somebody else want to talk about him, okay, if y'all ask me a question, I'll say something. But my blood is boiling. I can hardly stand this. First of all, a year ago, they were raising all kinds of hell about using the defense to stand your ground. Then all of a sudden, they didn't want to use that defense. Now they're talking about they were having a fit to have his toxicology report shown to the jury, which had minute traces of marijuana. Now all of a sudden, they don't want that in court. Wait, what? They are just grasping at straws. And I'm just going to say this. Trayvon is dead. The only other person that can tell us the truth about what happened is George Zimmerman. And he's not going to do that. So they are not going to put his fat ass on the stand. Okay? Y'all know this. It ain't going to happen. Because George Zimmerman's record is too messed up. And the judge has already ruled that they can't tell the jury about him being arrested for fighting officers, him going to anger management classes, him getting restrictions, notice to stay away from his girlfriend. All sorts of... This was the thug. Excuse me, I had to take a drink. George Zimmerman is the thug in this whole thing. And I'm telling you, I'm going to stand on the side of we're going to see justice done. I'm just going to say that we're going to see justice done. I'm not going to talk about if we don't get justice in this case, because I know we're going to see justice done. All right? So that's all I have to say about George Zimmerman. Texas Governor Rick Perry announced yesterday that he will no longer run for governor. And all the news outlets, the media, they're saying that this is a sign he's going to run for president. Hell no. Don't y'all believe it? Do y'all believe it? If he runs for president, we fixing to have bigger fun than we had before. Because this man is an idiot. All right. So I look forward to seeing that. Okay, so Jackie will be joining us a little later. And I'm going to keep your attention for the next 25 minutes until it is time to get my guest on the phone, Ethel Lopez. Olivia Hodges will not be with us tonight. But these ladies... Well, first let me say, welcome to the chat room, DJ Tony Sanchez, David Capers, Darcy Della Pros are all my very good friends. And I'm reading your chat. I'm reading your chat. And Tony says, oh yeah, this Trayvon Martin case just got scary. Again, when I start talking about that, I just get angry. This defense is looking so ridiculous, so goofy. I can't. I'm for real, y'all. I can hardly speak. Every time I think about it, I watch as much of it as I can each day. But they had this black woman on today. Who knew George Zimmerman for 2 years. And she looks like she's laying in a bed or something and couldn't come to the courthouse. But she was, I guess they were Skyping her live because she was answering questions over a video screen. And how she know that was George Zimmerman's voice? Y'all, here's the problem. George Zimmerman is on tape, on video with Sean Hannity, saying himself, that wasn't me screaming, don't sound like me to me. He knew it wasn't him screaming. You are not going to forget all this speculation about who was screaming. You are not going to forget if you were screaming for help. And he swears that Trayvon Martin had his hands over his face and nose. If he had his hands over his face and nose, and George Zimmerman is a bloody mess with all the blood trickling down from the nose, and there was not one drop of George Zimmerman's blood or DNA on either of Trayvon Martin's hands. Now you explain that to me, Lucy. How could he forget that that was him screaming for help? I think some bitch got up and hit his own damn head in self in the head with his gun and hit himself in the nose. That's what I think. I think he is so psychotic that I believe that he got up and hit his own damn self in the head and nose. Wasn't no blood on Trayvon Martin. Now, how was he bleeding? Trayvon Martin and broke his nose and had his hands all over his bloody nose, and there's no blood from George Zimmerman on him. Absolutely amazing, y'all. I know one thing. Justice better be done in this freaking case. This is absolutely unbelievable. And what a mess that the defense attorney, in my opinion, are making of this case. They talked to this woman all this time, this black woman who was on the neighborhood watch. She moved 2 years ago. And George and she were friends. What happened to Uncle George? Y'all remember Uncle George, who came out to stand up for Trayvon? And Trayvon's like a son to me. I'm like an old uncle to him. You damn sure were. But he has completely disappeared because he didn't know Trayvon Martin had been arrested for battery on a police officer. He didn't know that Trayvon Martin had to go to anger management classes. He didn't know that Trayvon Martin had, one of those restriction notices put on him for going near his girlfriend. He didn't know that he had that injunction, but he's like an old uncle. He didn't know jack about George Zimmerman. And I haven't seen him anywhere. Although this trial is kind of boring the hell out of me, I try to watch most of the time. But it's really getting on my nerves that they have nothing to say. Okay, y'all, so we are about 15 minutes away of having our guest on the line. Jackie will be here a little later to give you the top stories of the day. But we're going to be talking with Ethel Lopez, one of the advocates and creators of the website not Just Cause, but of Free the IRP6.org. That's their website. If you go to this website, you can read all about the IRP6. But let me just give you a little rundown. Let me just read to you the pointers in this case, okay? Beginning of IRP Solutions. IRP Solutions was established in February 2003 and began to heavily market its flagship case investigative life cycle, that's CILC, okay, software solution. In August of 2003, to major federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies, including but not limited to the Department of Homeland Security, that's DHS, Department of Justice, that's DOJ, and the New York City Police Department, the NYPD. Now, my friends, even though we face the difficulties of days of today or tomorrow, we still have a dream. That is a little logo written in there on the site, and I love that. Now, my friends, even though we face the difficulties of today or tomorrow, we still have a dream. So, to continue reading about the IRP6, the impact of 911, this is how it continues. and why they made this software due to the impact of 911. IRP Solutions Corporation was formed a couple of years after the tragedies of 911. IRP is an acronym for Investigative Resource Planning. This was a country in shock. We experienced the worst attack in history against our country on our native soil. Many of the events of the day and months that would follow showed gaps in the investigative processes of our law enforcement agencies, but yet there were no solutions readily available to address the need. Meanwhile, years prior to 911, the founders of IRP Solutions had begun development of a small standalone software application to be used as an individual work product for law enforcement. That initial work was done under the company name Leading Team. Although the initial software developed by Leading Team was an enterprise class solution, it was not web enabled or capable of addressing the major gaps that were identified post 9/11, i.e., lack of ability to share intelligence, investigative information between law enforcement and all levels of government, etc. The company founders knew that with a little hard work, they could develop a software application that could significantly impact our nation's law enforcement operations. However, they didn't feel that the current company name accurately reflected the new strategy. Thus, IRP Solution Corporation was formed. The call from DHS, a dream opportunity. Continuing on with the story. This is the next segment. In October 2003, IRP received a call from the program manager at the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, for an initiative that was called the Consolidated Enforcement Environment Initiative. DHS wanted IRP to conduct web demo of the software solution that IRP had developed. IRP's web demo was very successful, and the company was asked to travel to Washington, D.C. to conduct a demo before a larger audience. In November 2003, IRP traveled to Washington, D.C. to demonstrate their software solution before the DHS Consolidated Enforcement Environment Initiative team, which comprised of DHS, FBI, Secret Service, Federal Air Marshals, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, TSA, U.S. Coast Guard, and I believe that's Deloitte. This audience questioned IRP on the technical and functional aspects of the software. This was yet another successful demonstration of the software that IRP had developed. Following the meeting, DHS provided IRP with eyes-only documentation, that's Homeland Security, provided IRP with eyes-only documentation and asked IRP to begin working non-contractually on capabilities to meet certain federal law enforcement scenarios. IRP Solutions Case Investigative Life Cycle, once again CILC, is still the best investigative software ever. Although CILC software was considered the most promising, strong political winds from large entrenched competitors significantly slowed down the sales cycle, which subsequently caused a cash flow crunch and aging debt related to the development of the software. Okay, so I hope y'all understand as I read this story to catch you up, to help you understand before I have my friends on the line from the IRP6 group. So basically, these 5 black men and 1 white man, they created this amazing software that was better than the big business giants that already, were in the game. And these guys developed a product that was even better. And of course, that's what they're looking for. The FBI and Homeland Security and law enforcement around the country, around the world, they want their stuff to have the highest and the best of security. They don't want and need hackers breaking into their systems, right? So these 5 black guys and this 1 white guy that brought this thing to fruition and had it working so well that they were called to Washington, D.C. to demonstrate their product, and they loved it. Okay, law enforcement loved it. And then all of a sudden, everything comes crashing down. So here's some of the short of what has happened, okay? The IRP Solutions was a small minority-owned company competing with large companies such as Lockheed Martin and International Business Machines, IBM, for multi-million-dollar government contracts. What should have been a civil litigation involving a debt collections case filed by staffing agencies turned into a criminal fraud case pursued by Denver Assistant U.S. Attorney Matthew T. Kirsch, tried in a federal court and resulted in the IRP6 being sentenced to 7 to 11 years each in Florence. That's the prison system, I'm sure. It just stops right there. But in Colorado. On October the 11th, 2011, federal district court judge Christine Arguello, 10th Circuit, Denver, Colorado, forced an IRP executive to take the witness stand against his will, violating his Fifth Amendment rights. The IRP executive, Kendrick Barnes, was one of the 6 defendants, 5 black, 1 white, in the federal case. So when coming up in 6 minutes, I'm going to have on the line, okay, I'm sorry, I missed a little something there. 5 blacks, 1 white, in the federal case accused of mail wire fraud. Barnes was forced to take the witness stand. So this is really crazy. It's an unbelievable story that these 6 men, intelligent, articulate, educated, and they created this software that the FBI, Homeland Security, law enforcement agencies throughout the country all said, wow, after they did their demonstration with their software, wow, this is awesome. We like it. And so all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the FBI raids their office. They claim that they were receiving money, through mail, wire fraud, blah, blah, blah. But when they raided their offices, as I understand the story from my friends Olivia and Ethel, And from the video here on the website, they didn't take not one financial record. Not one. They only took these guys' software data and information and then put them in prison for 7 to 11 years. These guys had never been in trouble. None of them had any type of criminal record. They just had a really good product that somebody else wanted. And I am still shaking my head that they're in prison. And so, you know, our logo here is Injustice Anywhere. And these are the quotes of Dr. Martin Luther King. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And you all had better believe that, okay? This is amazing. So now let me give you a little ad here that I want you to listen to. We are very close to raising the $125,000 needed to bring home Grammy-nominated director Chris Hickey home to Forest City, Arkansas to make his first featured film, The Grace of Jake. I am an Arkansas girl. I was raised 17 miles from Forest City, and we are so very proud of Chris, and this story is so wonderful. And Jordan Sparks, 2007 American Idol winner, has signed on, and she will be in one of the starring roles. And it's just fantastic. So I'm going to put you in touch with my little ad here for The Grace of Jake. While I get on the line, my guest tonight, Ethel Lopez, and she will introduce to you Sam and Cliff, some of the partners of the IRP6. This is an amazing story. If you think stuff can't happen to you, you had better think again. Do y'all hear me? This is really scary. I mean, just think that if you create something that somebody else wants, they can find a way to take it. And if you're really on the level with the big boys and you're going to outdo them and make more money than them, that's even scarier. Okay? All right. So you are listening to Let's Talk About It right here at Spreaker.com. We'll be right back.
By the bay, not far from Orleans.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Brenda Pearl, host of Nothing But the Blues and the Brenda White Shows right here at Spreaker.com. And I want to talk to you about a project that has become near and dear to my heart. So I want y'all to listen up. Grammy-nominated director Chris Hickey is bringing his first feature film home. Arkansas native Chris Hickey is set to direct his feature film debut on location in Forest City, Arkansas, The Grace of Jake. The Grace of Jake is about a man searching for a father he has never met. Wayward musician Jake Hayes takes a journey that leads him to the rural Arkansas Delta amidst crop dusters and gospel churches, gravel roads, and sweet tea.
Getting close. Getting close.
It's here amidst nothing that Jake finds everything: life, love, and a gospel record contract. This is a movie about the wonders of grace told through the power of music. Hallelujah. Now, Chris needs your help. He needs our help to get this movie made. These kinds of heartfelt stories get lost in the shuffle of Hollywood, but thanks to crowdsourced funding sites such as Kickstarter.com, you can become a part of something great. Log on to Kickstarter.com. Search The Grace of Jake to find out how you can help. Every dollar counts. Every person that pledges becomes a part of the team. And in the words of Jake LaBox, American blues singer, songwriter, and actor who is starring in this film, this movie's got drama, it's got romance, it's got violence. But without finance, it's got no chance. Can I get an amen? So y'all tell somebody to tell somebody. And y'all log on to Kickstarter.com. And let's bring Chris Hickey and The Grace of Jake home. Thank you for listening. This has been a Brenda White production right here at Spreaker.com.
I'm shouldering weight of everything left unsaid by thousands of years of relatives whose throats were made of lead. My mother says that the devil lives in my throne.
Okay, y'all, so log on to Kickstarter.com and give us $1. We are almost there. We have raised $71,000. So y'all keep watching and keep donating that dollar. We're going to get this $125,000. We got 8 days left.
Although it's crafted beautifully.
Trying to find a good job, y'all, is so hard to find. And I don't want to have to be the one stand in the welfare line. I'm full, up to my neck. The only time I want my nice to me is when I get my check. Tight money, that money's tight. Short money.
You are listening to Let's Talk About It, sponsored by the #1 broadcasting network on the net. And that's Spreaker, .com. Yes, indeed. You are listening to Let's Talk About It. And we are sponsored by the #1 broadcasting network on the net, Spreaker.com. Oh, hallelujah. Welcome, y'all. Welcome back to Let's Talk About It. And on the line now, I have my friend. We became friends immediately. Olivia Hodges. I got the word they wanted to talk to me about this story about 1 o'clock in the morning, honey. We didn't get off the phone till about 3 o'clock. And Ethel Lopez. Olivia is not with us right now, but Ethel Lopez is with us. And Ethel, who do you have joining on the line with us?
I have Samuel Thurman and Clifford Stewart.
Okay. And Samuel and Clifford are?
Samuel and Clifford were also employed with the IRP business, IRP Solutions, and Clifford is the brother of one of the inmates.
Okay, one of the IRP6. Okay, well, I read the story for them in the last 15 or 10 minutes so that they could understand exactly what's happening, and now we are ready to talk to y'all. Tell us what you want us to know about this story, Ethel.
Well, I want to make sure that the correct information, that people know what took place with this case. And we have 6 guys that are sitting in federal prison camp here in Florence, Colorado, who have been wrongly convicted of conspiracy, mail, and wire fraud. And if anybody committed any kind of conspiracy, it was the prosecutor and the judge in this case. Mm-hmm. And we want people to know the truth. So that's why we ask that if Sam and Cliff, who knows the story inside and out, would be the ones to come on to talk to you, to answer every question and give you every bit of knowledge about what's happened in this case. They're the ones who can do it.
Well, I tell you, I've read quite a bit here, and I watched the video last night. And this thing absolutely has my blood pressure pumping, and I don't have high blood pressure or anything, but this absolutely has my blood pressure pumping. I had to take a shower 10 minutes before the show, I did not know what to do with myself. My blood is just really boiling, because if this can happen to them, it can happen to anybody.
That's correct.
I mean, these guys were all educated, articulate, church-going guys, no criminal records. And then what happened? Sam, one of you, Cliff, tell us what happened the day that they decided to raid y'all's office.
Well, Brenda, thanks again for having us on. And for the listeners, this is Sam. In a nutshell, the IRP case is and I think I was listening to the top of your show, and as you were giving the highlights of the case, and you hit the nail on the head as far as, in a nutshell, it's a corporate debt collection case.
Mm-hmm.
Got criminalized, and you had an overzealous FBI agent by the name of John Smith, and an overzealous assistant U.S. attorney by the name of Matthew Kirsch in Denver, who prosecuted the case. And as you articulated earlier, the details around this case, from the inception all the way through to the prosecution and conviction, the sentencing, all of it shows how, like you said, if it happened to them, it could happen to anyone, as far as some action that you're doing through the course of just conducting normal business activities during the day,
Mm-hmm.
that it can get over-criminalized, and it'll point to and open your eyes to some of the corruption that can occur in the judicial process
Mm-hmm.
here in the United States. And it's a classic case of government going after a win at any cost. It wasn't a case about let's discover the truth and let's see what really happened here. Someone accused these guys of doing something, which is fine. People accuse others of doing stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But let's keep it real. Let's
And what business doesn't have some debt?
I'm sorry?
I said, and what business doesn't have some debt?
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. And so that's what happened here. Now, to answer your question as far as what happened on the day of the raid, I'll let Cliff jump in on that. It was February 9th, 2005, and it was right on the heels of IRP Solutions being in talks with the Department of Homeland Security. And as you talked at the beginning of the show, they had done demos and so forth. The Department of Homeland Security had actually asked for quotes on different components of the software.
Mm-hmm.
One part of the software, one component of the software was worth over $100 million. The particular quote was right around $100 million. So we're talking a lot of money on the table.
Uh-huh.
And so, this is a situation where you're ready to, get the wheels turning,
Mm-hmm.
able to meet your obligations and meet your debts. And then, lo and behold, on February 9, 2005, FBI shows up at the door and raids the business. And I'll let Cliff shed a little bit more.
And now, as I listened to the video last night, one of the young men in this video is saying that they're accusing you guys of this mail fraud, but when they show up at your office, they don't take anything to do with financial anything.
Exactly.
They just take your software and your data and your information about that.
That's exactly right, because what happened when they came in and they finally presented the warrant that they had for what they were looking for, it was saying they were looking for financial records between the staffing companies that IRP Solutions had basically employed to provide additional professional staff for financials between those staffing companies and IRP Solutions and DKH Enterprises, which Demetrius Harper basically was the on-site. Basically, he was the company that would find, help IRP to find professional help for developing the software and things of that nature. So when they came in and the warrant says they're looking for this financial information, well, at that point, the executives of IRP said, well, hey, here's a file cabinet. It's labeled financials. They put that in the middle of the floor and said, go in there and get whatever records that you want. And the first issue on the table is that if they needed financial records, between the staffing companies and IRP Solutions, they could have got copies of those from the staffing companies.
Absolutely.
That's something difficult to get. If they needed timesheets, those timesheets were sent via fax or email. They could have gotten those timesheets. If they needed invoices, the same thing. So,
and if the staffing company wanted to sue you, all they had to do was take you to civil court.
That is exactly right. And that was brought up that, this is a civil case. But when they came in and was presented with the file cabinet that said financials, they totally ignored it. Came in all day from 9 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, and they copied everything off of every computer in the building, all the way from the janitor's computer to everybody's computer got copied. They took every piece of data that they could. And so when you look at it, you say, well, you're not really here looking for financials.
Not at all. Not if you didn't take the financial records. I'm from Arkansas, Sam and Cliff, and we have something down there called frackle-knackle bullshit.
Okay.
And that's exactly what this sounds like to me. But while we can crack that little joke, y'all, keep in mind 6 young men who had their whole lives and their futures ahead of them are sitting in federal prison.
That's correct.
For something they didn't do. And while I called that what it was and we got a laugh out of it, this is really making me sick. This could have been my son.
That's right.
As a part of these 6 men. And it is somebody's son and somebody's brother. And husbands, fathers. This was so sad. If these men had been convicted of fraud at some point in their lives and this was their MO, but they weren't. All they did was jumped into this new millennium and created some software.
And Brenda, when you look at it, you look at, the company that they were in competition with. I mean, this is a small black-owned business of about 18 employees, and they're competing with the IBMs, the Motorola's, the Booz and Allen, the Software Engineering Systems Corporation. I mean, they're competing with the Lockheed Martins of the world, these huge federal contractors. And when you look at the way that IRP did business, IRP Solutions said, hey, we're going to go out, we're going to find who we need to develop this product. And when we go before, the customers, the federal government, we're going to have something that we can show. We're not going up there with a PowerPoint spreadsheet. This is what we can do. This is what we can do. Because you look at it, and in 2005, the company SAIC, they created or was supposed to create some software called the Virtual Case File. They spent over $425 million of taxpayer money, ended up with, they had to scrap the software, had a congressional hearing where the FBI director had to stand in front of Congress and say, we squandered $425 million trying to build this, and we have nothing to show for it. None of those people were indicted, were charged with any crime. And you're talking about almost $500 million of taxpayer money that was lost, squandered, just wasted.
Well, you know what Daryl Iser says about that. When they brought Jamie Dimon up on the Hill to testify to losing $2 billion, $4 billion, $6 billion, hell, they lost count. And Daryl Iser said, we thank you for your service, Mr. Dimon, and we lose that much up here on Capitol Hill every day. And yeah, they do.
But when it comes down to these, this small business, the black-owned business, they get in debt and get criminalized for it, and they've been in prison for a year for debt, not for squandering $500 million, but for some.
Not for selling the FBI or Homeland Security flawed software, just for debt. And every company, Donald Trump, all of them, they stay in debt.
That's right. Yeah.
They get bankruptcy. I'm just going to say it like it is. There's some frackle-knackle bullshit, and there's some racism going on. And, and every now and then in the midst of racism, we have a one good white person that's trying to help us out. He went to jail, too. Okay, so how many years did each of the guys get?
they got from between 7 to 11 years federal time for mail fraud and wire fraud. And even the other inmates, when they came in, said, how do you get 10 years? Would you guys kill somebody?
Yeah, well, I read that, but what I'm asking is, how many years did the black man get? How many years did the white man get?
I think, and I'm not certain. You know, it's like once they start throwing out sentences. I know the lowest one was 7 and the highest was 11.
That is unbelievable.
Like 10 years for each of the guys.
Now, y'all, I don't have to tell y'all this. You know that rapists and child molesters and men who attempt to kill their wives and vice versa get less time in jail than that.
Oh yeah, they get
7 years.
Get probation, home confinement.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Free.
They wanted to take these guys completely out of the game, and I just completely smell a rat.
Oh, we do too.
Yeah. Now, I ain't got shit they can take from me, so whatever they want to say, I'm going to post this story over and over and over again. And, you know, it's only until people rise up and start calling for justice that justice gets done. And Martin Luther King said unjust laws are just that, unjust laws, and they are meant to be broken. And I hope that the listeners hear this, share this story, and we need to get a movement behind this thing, because I don't know these guys, but I'm telling you, I believe this story.
Yeah. Well, and you know, Brenda, if I can jump in there, when you talk about injustice, you know, even during the trial, there were several things that occurred that readily point to the fact that a fair trial was not happening. I mean, when you talk about expert witnesses, the guys had lined up expert witnesses to take the witness stand to testify on their behalf as to how they conducted business. And when I say how they conducted business, I'm talking how they conducted business when it came to staffing companies. Mm-hmm. So, but the judge would not allow the expert witnesses to testify. There's a gentleman by the name of Andrew Albarelli. He is the president of a staffing company in Denver. And he even wrote a letter to the U.S. attorney in Denver outlining how staffing businesses conduct business. Mm-hmm. And basically saying that the way IRP conducted business and their relations with staffing companies was legit. It was consistent with... And it was the norm. It was the norm. Yeah. And when Mr. Albarelli was called to the stand, Assistant U.S. Attorney Kirsch objected on some frivolous excuse that they didn't have enough warning. Now, the trial occurred started in September 2011. Mm-hmm. Mr. Albarelli wrote a letter to the U.S. Attorney's Office in July of 2011. So 5 months prior to the trial, the U.S. Attorney's Office was notified. Would you believe that the judge dismissed Mr. Albarelli after he had taken the stand, saying that the Assistant U.S. Attorney was not notified? The letter went to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Mm-hmm. It went to the Assistant U.S. Attorney Matt Kirsch's boss. It went to that office. Mm-hmm. He had ample notification that Mr. Albarelli was qualifying himself as an expert witness. Mm-hmm. Dismissed him and would not allow him to testify. Again, Frackle. The name of Kelly Balkum in that same company was willing to testify. They would not allow her to testify. Yeah, again, Frackle-knackle bullshit. You know, I've had a case here earlier this year, Devontae Sanford, a 14-year-old with some problems and one eye, accused of killing 4 people. And in Detroit, he was convicted at the age of 14. He's been in prison for 5 years. The hitman that did the killings came forth because he didn't want this young boy to spend time in jail for what he had done. Do you know they wouldn't hear it? How the hell you don't hear something like that? Prosecuting attorney, a black woman, how in the hell do you not hear something like that when people's lives are on the line? Exactly. It goes back to what I said before. It's all about getting a win at any cost. It's not about justice. It's not about.
It's more than that. It's some frackle-knackle bullshit going on, and somebody is getting a cut. Somebody's getting their palms greased, or a promise to be somewhere else and make more money if they just go along with this. It's some stinking stuff going on around here.
Yeah, because when you look at it and you see, because when you look at this situation with the IRP6 and you look at how this all came down, one of the principals of one of the staffing companies that IRP was using, Susan Holland, she was affiliated with the law firm up here in Denver called Holland and Hart.
Mm-hmm.
One of the partners at that law firm, Greg Goldberg, he hand-delivered a packet to this assistant U.S. attorney, Matt Kirsch, who prosecuted the case, and told him basically what to charge the guys with, how to do, charge them with conspiracy, mail fraud, and wire fraud. And these are charges that, they throw mail fraud and wire fraud at anybody, because it basically means if you made a phone call, if you used your fax machine, if you used email, then basically they can charge you with wire fraud and mail fraud. So he lays this out, tell him charge them with this, charge them with that, because they haven't paid these bills to my friend, my affiliate, Susan Holland. He gets in touch, man. He used to be, Greg Goldberg was previously assistant U.S. attorney in Denver. He gets in touch with his friend, Matthew Kirsch, the U.S. attorney in Denver, and tells him how to do this. And then now this judge, Christine Arguello, she used to be a partner at this same said law firm, Holland and Hart. And when that was brought to her attention, said you should recuse yourself because, the law says that if there is even the implication that there could be a conflict of interest, that a judge should recuse themselves. And she totally ignored it, said, oh, no, I just knew this man in passing. Like, you don't know somebody in passing that's a partner at the same law firm you work at. You guys are going...
Okay, that ain't in passing.
And not only that, John Walsh was also a partner in that law firm.
Y'all, this is...
the U.S. attorney of Colorado in Denver, John Walsh. And so you have all these connections with all these people, and even when it's brought to the judge's attention that, hey, you were at this law firm, you're a partner, you need to recuse yourself, you're too close to these people. And she's like, oh, no, I didn't. And then as you watch the trial, and you watch that instead of the judge being a referee during the trial, the judge is totally, misconstruing facts and situations. And
she's no referee. She's on the side of the WWE.
That he's basically getting a hand up on the situation. And, like Sam said, she refused expert witnesses. She told, and now she's telling you're not going to put this witness on the stand. But then when the prosecutor ended his portion of the case early, he was supposed to go like 3 weeks. He ended a week and a half. Then she's reprimanding the guys, telling them, well, you better get a witness up on the stand. Like, we would have a witness if you would let our witnesses testify.
Yeah.
But she reprimanding them. Then when people won't show up that's been subpoenaed, she won't get in touch with them and tell them that they're in contempt of court if they don't show up. She doesn't lend a hand in any kind of way doing what she's supposed to be doing.
This is an absolute railroad situation.
One of you are going to have to get on the stand. So she totally violates their Fifth Amendment rights. And, during a sidebar. And then after that, so now we have on the table that she refused expert witness. She's trying to force them to testify against themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Then
she also wouldn't allow forensic evidence as well.
She didn't allow forensic evidence when they had the software vetted by one of the forensic scientist corporations that the government uses. It's like, okay, well, you want to say the software is nothing but smoke and mirrors? We'll let one of your people look at it. And this man comes back with a report saying, hey, this is some of the best software I've seen. It could work for the government. This is something that law enforcement needs. No, they don't want to let that in.
And so he couldn't testify.
They don't admit that. She goes along with the prosecutor with that.
And basically, Brenda, it's as if anything that could have been brought to trial and presented before the
she squashed it,
which would have legitimized the business, would have legitimized the software, would have legitimized the IRP6 as real businessmen, not black men, but real businessmen conducting business at the high level, then anything that would help to legitimize that, she shot it down.
The judge squashed
Just talking about the forensic evidence.
This is amazing. This is amazing what you all are telling us. What I would like to know is also I read something about missing transcripts. What happened with these transcripts?
That goes back to what Cliff was sharing with the Fifth Amendment violation. So when the judge, the prosecution cut their case short by a week, at least a week, and the judge basically was admonishing the IRP6 because their witnesses, the IRP6 witnesses, included representatives from the Department of Homeland Security, included representatives from NYPD. People had to travel.
And needed notice, yes.
Witnesses, prior notice that it looks like the prosecution case is going to go this many days, so we want you to plan on being in town at this time.
Yes.
But when the prosecution cuts their case by a week at least, then you got to scramble to get witnesses to show up. Well, that goes back to what Cliff was saying earlier. The judge did nothing to lend a hand to compel witnesses to appear. Even those that were local, they were skating out. I'm talking like FBI agents, Colorado Bureau of Investigation agents. People were doing anything possible to kind of add to the conspiracy, so to speak, as far as we're not going to speak on behalf of these guys. So the judge had them and basically gave them a mandate. You either have someone here to take the witness stand, or one of you are going to take the stand, or if you don't take the stand, I'm going to close your case for you. How are you going to close somebody's case when they haven't even presented their case?
Y'all, this is unbelievable. I know you're telling the truth, but this is unbelievable. Let me ask you now. So where are we now? Are the guys going to get an appeal or what?
Well, the case is actually under appeal. And the thing with that Fifth Amendment violation, the transcript, the sidebar transcript where the judge admonished them and told them this, that part of the transcript is missing.
Missing.
It's missing. The court reporter has not turned it over. We've asked for total unedited versions of the software, totally unedited version of the transcript, and the court reporter has not turned it over. The court is not compelling her to deliver it. The executive office of the federal court in Denver is not compelling her to do that either. So
y'all, this is it makes me have flashbacks of things that happened in our lives growing up, and that was when we were boycotting and walking the streets and all this sort of thing. And I told Olivia and Ethel the other night on the phone when we met that my mother was a school teacher, an organizer, all this sort of stuff in the community. And once when I was about 9th grade, we staged a sit-in in the school for the right to fighting for the right for Martin Luther King's day to exist and, salute his birthday. And they tear bombed us in the lobby of the school, ran us out into 28-degree weather, sleeting, and on the fire truck came Billy Bob and everybody, the firemen with bats, and they had dogs and stuff, and they were chasing us and running us down and beating us half to death. And my mother, as one of the leaders in the community, they called for a boycott. So all the black kids were staying out of school. So the principal and the superintendent told her that if she made her black kids go back to school, because she was a leader in the community, all the black kids, all the other families would follow her. She refused to do it. And they came up with some cockamamie excuse to fire her after teaching and being a principal and all sorts of stuff for 40 years. And this thing goes to court, and they were trying to take all of her pension. John Walker, at the time, they fought and got 75% of her pension, but It was she and 8 or 25 other black teachers, but they can come up with more mess and just expect you to accept it.
Yeah.
But my mother always taught me to be a fighter. And so when this case was presented to me, sometimes we're just in shock that how can you not be allowed to introduce everything that could set you free, that could shine the light on this and prove that we weren't some bullshit company. We were a legitimate company with a legitimate product that legitimate people were seeking from us.
Yeah.
It's just mind-boggling. It just leaves you with, as Bishop White can say, what the flock? How can this happen? But it continues to happen.
One of the things, too, is, as you indicated, that when you heard about the story, when Olivia and Ethel presented it to you, people inherently know what the truth is. You know the truth.
I knew the truth. I knew there was no line in these women, and I know there's no line in you. And I haven't met you, but I saw this video. I read this story. There's no line in this story. A blind man could see this.
That's right.
Yeah, but a jury has to be able to hear the truth, hear the whole story in order to make a correct decision.
Yeah, and it's
right. And Brenda, one of the things happened, even when the jury were, going to do their verdict and they asked for more evidence, the judge still wouldn't give it to them. And, it's one thing to say, okay, you're going to let the prosecutor come up with some cockamamie story to say why this evidence is not presented. But when the jury is saying, we're deliberating, we're asking for some more evidence, why won't the judge release it? And
her butt should have been recused from the beginning. So I hope that these guys get out of prison on this technicality that her butt should never have been even hearing the case.
You're right.
That's true. She should never have been involved. And when it looked like, because see, we went to Chief Judge Wiley Daniel up in Denver, and we trying to talk to him about this. He didn't even have a reason. He had no viable reason to recuse himself. He wasn't involved in any way. He had a drop of a dime. I'm recusing myself from this situation. And he was black. This was a black man who was a judge. The chief judge in Denver, he would not even consider stepping up before we could get most of the story out to him. He recused himself. And this judge who should have stepped up, he sat there and basically she prosecuted the case.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's Matt Kirsch, the assistant U.S. attorney. So you have, you look at it because, you were saying you see the racial overtone, intone in this whole situation from the first time you read it, even from the raid. The racism was there when they came in. They asked them questions like, "Well, if a white woman would come here and look for a job, would you guys hire?" There were white women working there. Then they take all the black people in the building and corralled us. And this is not something I'm making up. I was there. I went through when this happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
Found all of us into the cafeteria. If you was black, you get in the cage with the other monkeys. They corralled us in the cafeteria, put armed guards at each door, and said, if you even want to go to the bathroom, you got to be escorted by one of us. And you telling me that's not racial? And then when it came time, when they finally started letting people go, the one white guy who's actually in prison with the IRP6, Dave Serpolo.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when they talked to him, and when it was time for him to go, they gave him their business card, Mrs. Apollo, if there's anything you need to talk about, you call us, and you free to go. He had his laptop bag. He had another duffel bag. He picks up his stuff, and this is February in Colorado, so it's chilly. He has on his, his big Parker-style jacket.
Uh-huh.
He walks out the building. They let him go scot-free. Now, we got this on video.
Mm-hmm.
About a minute, maybe 2 minutes later, when one of the black men tried to walk out, when they finally released us from the cafeteria, he tried to walk out. They turned him around. No, you go back. Put your book bag on the desk up here.
Mm-hmm.
Put your portfolio, your binder, your notepad. Put it up there. They went through his stuff. All the black people that tried to come out to the building, They turn them around, put them there right in front of the camera. They going through the women's purses. They looking through all the personal belongings. If you was black, you come back in, we going to search you. I was out in the hallway. Now, this is the FBI. The FBI not supposed to do a pat down of a person coming in on a federal charge looking for financials. They patted me down, went through my pockets, went through my wallet, opened up my cell phone to see what I had in my cell phone. And then they want to say there is no racism going on in America. Racism is alive and kicking.
It's alive and well. And when people sometimes say to me about this show, why you got to be so racial? I don't know. Why y'all got to be so racial? If y'all didn't do this shit, I wouldn't be talking about it. Because I'm not out here trying to be racial. I'm just here showing that racism is alive and well in this country.
And you know one thing,
and we damn well know that.
And on that raid situation, they showed up with 22 armed federal agents. And on that day, there were probably only about 15 employees in the building. How can you have more than 1-for-1 agent per employee? And what we've heard since then is that those kind of raids are reserved for situations where they believe that there's some kind of drug activity.
Yeah.
A kingpin or something. And so you have a group of African-American people in an office building going in and out, conducting legitimate business, but then you get raided as if you are dealing drugs.
And also, Sam, tell her about the head guy over them was a black guy who didn't know the raid was even going on.
The special agent in charge in Denver didn't even know that this raid was going on. And so, how can you conduct a raid 70 miles away from your office and you don't know anything about it?
Yeah, the boss, he doesn't know.
He doesn't know.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And we are going to share this story. We're going to talk about this story. I want y'all to come back anytime you got an update about this story. I don't want to let it go. Because, see, it's frightening. If we look away from this, it can happen to anybody. Like I said, these could have been my brothers, my daddy, my uncle, your brothers, your daddy, your uncles. People, if you don't open up your eyes and get involved in these causes, look, Trayvon Martin's case would have never taken place.
Mm-hmm.
If the people,
there was an uproar.
That's right, didn't raise up.
And when you look at this situation, Brenda, you look at what's going on, and you don't know how true it is when you say this could happen to anybody, because this case of criminalizing debt, now this case has set precedents that they can use it when they come after other people. They can say, well, there's a federal case in Colorado where, there's some men, some black men, they owed some debt. They were convicted of conspiracy, wire fraud, and mail fraud. Basically, what the federal government is saying, you never intended on paying back your debt anyway. So now they can take this case and say, well, if you got some credit cards that you haven't paid, you might have lost your job. You haven't even been able to pay that. You might have lost your job. Now your mortgage is behind.
You had an excellent product as collateral.
Right. You might have fell into some financial hardship. And now since you didn't pay your bills, we're going to say that you never intended to at all.
Which doesn't make any sense, because if you've got this excellent product and you could prove that DHS, the FBI, law enforcement around the country was interested in purchasing this product, all they had to do was sign on, file a complaint against you, sign on that whenever you make any money, you got to pay this debt first.
And
that was simple enough. Prison, 11 years, 7 years, please.
The raid, there was one of the staffing companies sent a letter to the FBI and said, I got this complaint about IRP Solutions. It's looking like they doing like this, looking like they doing that. This was the FBI office that was up in Denver. They send this complaint. The FBI sends them back. This is a civil matter. We suggest you take it up in civil as a civil situation, because there's nothing that the FBI
absolutely. And all they had to do was put a lien on your product.
That's right.
Put a lien on your company. And if you make a dime, they get their money. That was so simple.
Exactly. And then what happened, see, once they did the raid, then they told all the people that we were, that we were looking at doing this business, DHS, NYPD, they told them, don't do business with IRP Solutions. We got them under investigation for all this stuff. And so they have all this, and then they keep you from doing business, even till 2009 when the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Soon we had gone there, had came up with a solution. The city of Philadelphia was getting, basically they were getting fined by their court system every day that they didn't have a solution in place. They were getting a fine. We went in, came up with a solution that, hey, this will work. This will do everything that you needed to do. Was going to implement it for free.
Mm-hmm.
And then, IBM and Motorola, they was there. They had already got $7 million from them and hadn't delivered nothing. They ain't in jail.
Mm-hmm.
But they came up with this article that they had put out about, these guys are under investigation for this stuff. They give them the article, and then the city of Philadelphia, they were like, well, people are under investigation all the time. We're gonna check and see what's going on. We don't have any problem if you're under investigation. So then when they get in touch with Matthew Kirsch, the assistant U.S. attorney, he tells them, an indictment is coming down, so don't do business with them. This 6 months before the indictment happened.
Yeah, so how did he know the indictment was coming down?
No grand jury has even been impaneled for an indictment, but, we're going to get them on indictment.
Well, and actually, if I could jump in there on that one, now, Cliff mentions the grand jury. Brenda, there were 2 grand juries. One grand jury was convened, and that grand jury, they had called several witnesses and so forth. That grand jury basically said that, agreed that this is a debt collection case. One of the grand jurors even said, so you're telling me that if I don't pay my debts, then the federal government is going to come after me for not paying my debts and going to convict me.
And give you more time than kidnappers and rapists get.
Exactly. So, Assistant U.S. Attorney Matthew Kirsch, he convenes a second grand jury. So this is the grand jury that Cliff is making reference to. In that grand jury, he calls one witness, and that's Robert Moen, who was one of the FBI agents who was participating in the raid. With the Assistant U.S. Attorney and the FBI agent together, that's all the grand jury heard. So they didn't get even the grand jury at that point didn't get the full story, didn't get the truth. So that's when the indictment came.
How hopeful are you guys about this appeal?
Very. Oh, very. Because when you look at what's on appeal, I mean, she violated the Speedy Trial. I mean, so far beyond what it was supposed to. You're talking about 100 days past what it was supposed to go as far as trial, right? Then she's got the Fifth Amendment violation where she forced them to get on the stand. Then they got the refusing the right of a expert witness to testify. Then you got the missing transcript, and that's the thing, Brenda, that if you have a case where a transcript is missing, you don't put people in prison. You say, hey, these men are out until you come up with that transcript and figure out what's going on. A missing transcript is just basically a mistrial. You don't have the transcript. These men don't have a right to appeal their case.
Yeah.
They do not.
And they weren't dangerous.
Here.
They weren't dangerous or a threat to anybody on the street.
Not at all. And they were not a flight risk. That's what they tried to hang it on, was that, they have squandered all this money and they got money stockpiled somewhere, so they're a flight risk because they can afford to do it.
Did they return your product to you?
Well, the thing is, the monies that they talk about as far as the debt, the monies were paid directly to the consultants who worked at IRP. So IRP contracted with staffing companies to provide software developers and testers and so forth.
Right.
The staffing companies paid the consultants directly. The money did not pass through the hands of the IRP6. But if you listen to the prosecution, they paint this picture to make it seem like they got all this money. It's a debt collection case.
This is amazing. Do you have any idea when the appeal might come?
Well, that's another one of the problems is that the state, in the district where Colorado is, the 10th district, there is no guide or no deadline whereby the Court of Appeals has to make a ruling. Other districts in federal court, they do have such rules.
Mm-hmm.
Colorado, they do not. That's another one of those situations where the IRP6 filed a motion to expedite the Court of Appeals ruling. That was shot down. So it's like every turn where you try and do something within the realms of what the law said you can do,
Mm-hmm.
they shoot it down.
They broke the law. Like, they broke the law. You can't use that law.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Okay, so besides having you guys on and inviting you to come back on any update and anything else, what can we do?
Well, there are several things you could do. One of the things that we have going on is reaching out to the Department of Justice, to Attorney General Eric Holder's office, and we are sending emails to the Department of Justice. We're calling the Department of Justice. The phone number, even for Eric Holder's office, is 202.
Wait a minute, let me write that down. 202 514
2003.
2003.
We are also writing to all of the congressmen who are part of the judiciary committees.
Mm-hmm.
This type of thing warrants a congressional investigation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is so blatant, and the judiciary committee has oversight on these types of situations.
Mm-hmm.
We've been writing letters, and then we've also reached out to the Office of Professional Responsibility. We reached out to the Office of the Inspector General. The Congress has also just recently formed what they call the Overcriminalization Task Force, and the Overcriminalization Task Force, to a certain extent, is an acknowledgement now by Congress that they realize that these types of situations are it's a trend that's growing in this country.
Mm-hmm.
You've got rogue assistant U.S. attorneys all over this country who are doing whatever they want to do, and it seems like there is no accountability. And that's one of the problems that we're seeing, and our eyes have been open to this as well, is that you send a letter into any one of those agencies that I just mentioned, and you will more than likely get a form letter back saying that either this does not fall into the purview of or the realm of responsibility for our office, or we don't see that anything was wrong. Brenda, ask me if anybody signed that letter.
Did anybody sign that letter?
Nobody signed that letter, Brenda.
Well, I hope
you have nobody that you can call back to that office and say, hey, may I speak to Jane Smith?
Mm-hmm.
And there is no such person.
Mm-hmm.
And they got now to where they're sending these form letters out via email. But that's not going to stop us. I mean,
well, I hope my godfather is listening. He is a retired federal judge out of Little Rock, Arkansas. And I sent him the show schedule. And if he's not listening, I'm still going to send this to him because you can listen to this show 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our shows are archived here at Spreaker.com just for your convenience. So if he is not listening, I want to pass this on to him because he was an honorable and still is honorable person, honorable judge. And when he got the federal judgeship, I was so proud of him because he deserved to be there. And he was the one who led this boycott and this uprising when I was just a teen in our town, and moved from there. But you can read a lot about Judge Ollie Neal online. And if you feel the need that you have a letter that you would like for me to read from you to him, I'll send it directly to him, and I'll call him and tell him to expect the letter.
Okay. And, that's one thing we've noticed, we'd like to acknowledge also, Brenda, is that, you never throw the baby out with the bathwater.
That's right.
And so you don't throw everybody, you don't paint, one broad, paint the picture with one broad brush. Say that, everybody within the judicial system is corrupt. None of them are any good. We know that that's not true.
No, that's not true.
Like you mentioned about Judge Neal. You know, there are a lot of people in the system that are like him, but we need to ensure that our legislative body, our judicial body, the judicial oversight bodies, or whether it be the judicial conference, that these people take enough initiative to recognize that if someone is doing something wrong, you know, we don't. Why do we have to wait until, you know, it's like they do it 10 times before you decide you want to take some action?
Yeah.
Why can't you look at a situation like you're listening today and say, you know, something is wrong with this case. We need to at least look into it. There's no skin off anybody's nose if you just look into it.
Absolutely. So if you have a point-by-point letter that you've sent to Eric Holder, you know, send me that same letter. I'd like to send it to Judge Neal. He's a retired federal judge, but he is back in law practice in Little Rock. And he knows people all over this country, and he would never mess with them if they were not honorable. He will not have it. He will not tolerate it.
Because we have, like Sam mentioned, we've reached out to so many places saying, hey, give us direction on what we do about this missing transcript. Who is it that we talk to? And like you said, you know, they send these letters back. It's not our office's responsibility. Yeah. It's got to be somebody's responsibility. So if Judge Neal can say, hey, this is who you go to, or, you know, this is how you track that down, this is what you do as far as the judicial body to enforce the fact that a transcript is missing, that's the type of information that we can use. And also...
and Judge Neal is he is that person.
By the U.S. Attorney Walsh's office up here in Denver to sue the court reporter who hasn't delivered the transcript. So we're also looking for a civil attorney, a good civil attorney that will go after her and say, hey, you're getting sued because you were paid for this transcript. You haven't delivered it. You haven't lived up to your oath and your right as a court reporter. And what the Court Reporter Act says that you must do, you have not lived up to those standards, and you need to be sued to get an answer to this situation. So that's what we're looking for: a good civil attorney that'll sue her, and then for Judge Neal, if he can put us on the right path to say, this is where you go, this is who you talk to, one of those honorable people.
Well, he can certainly do that. I remember when I had a boyfriend who was from Canada, and he was here on a work visa. His visa was running out, and his attorney told him to fly to the Bahamas and fly back, and they'll stamp it for another year until they can, apply for the next visa. Well, he did what that attorney told him, and when he got out of the country, they wouldn't let him back in. And he was trying to pay people. He was trying to do all sorts of stuff. And I simply called Judge Neal. Judge Neal gave me the number to the White House to call this person. And the next thing I know, I'm at work and I'm going to the bathroom, and I say to my colleagues, I'm waiting on a call from the White House. If it comes, don't hang up. Just tell me to come out the bathroom. And I know they were looking at me like, she don't know nobody at no damn White House. But the phone rang, and everybody knows, like, Brenda, it's the White House. And who do I have online? I'm not going to tell you the year, nothing, so nobody will know who I spoke to. But who was it? It was the head muckety-muck of the Department of Immigrations. And he says, okay, Brenda, so Judge Neal told me to give you a call, and what do you need? And tell me the story. And what's his name?
We need to hold this court reporter's feet to the fire.
Yeah.
And if John Walsh, the U.S. Attorney's Office, is saying, hey, sue her, and then, we basically will say, hey, they told us to sue you, we suing you, we coming after you with everything that we have. So we need an attorney that can do that. If you can point us to a good one, and like I said, if you can have Judge Neal point us in the direction of...
Well, I promise you, if he can't do anything about it, he will point you into the direction of that. And what I want to do is, when this show is over tonight, I'm going to give him a call and tell him that I want him to listen to this show and hear everything you said. And if you have a letter of fax or whatever it is that you want me to pass to him to read, he will most definitely get it directly from me. But I'm going to call him and tell him to take the time to listen to this show tonight. I want him to hear these facts and give us some advice, give you guys some advice, because, you know, I don't care what they do to me. I could be in this situation one day.
Right. And
my son, my friends, and I would want somebody fighting for me. And I can tell you guys are not lying.
That's right.
This crackle-knackle bullshit really happened, and it's happening now. And these guys who had never planned on being in any prison, locked up, who did everything right, are locked up because
we have so many people in prison right now that have been wrongly convicted. They have been sitting there for years and years and years because nobody is standing up, is fighting for these people. Nobody will come out and speak. Everybody is afraid. The media won't say anything because they are scared that they're going to get shut down or blacked out or something. You have none of these big sports, famous people, actors, actresses, whatever. They won't come out of the closet because it's like they've got something to hide. What is the problem here?
I don't know, but I can tell you this. It's some frackle-knackle bullshit going on. And me here at this show, I pay to broadcast my own show, and I will broadcast until they shut me down. But wrong is wrong, and I will stand on the side of right until I die. And my daddy raised me and always told me, the late, great Reverend C.H. Robinson, don't you worry about what the other fella does. You just do right.
That's it.
And I will continue to do right and support right until I die. So if y'all want to kill me and eat me, knock yourselves out. But I'm going to continue to report this story, and I'm going to tell Judge Neal to give us his very best advice on what your next step should be.
Yeah, we have to definitely need that.
And we also have a string of press releases that we've been doing, basically laying all the information out about this case. I mean, and thousands upon thousands have of impressions we've gotten on those press releases of people picking it up and passing it on. Because just like when you looked at the stories, like this story is compelling. You can feel the truth in it, and it basically affects everybody. Anybody could be in this situation.
That's right.
They just want to come after you. So we want to have Olivia or Ethel basically send you those press releases.
Absolutely.
And if you can pass them on.
Please do. I will keep passing them on. And I want to tell my listeners, y'all, please go over to the IRP6 Facebook page and like the page, okay? This may be something very trivial in your eyes, but the more people that like this page, the more attention that's brought to this story.
Yeah.
Exposure always is a good friend.
Yeah.
Right.
And so,
and you mentioned also at the top of the show about the website where there's all the documentation related to this case, the appellate briefs, the documents that basically spell out what's being appealed are out there. There are letters that we talked about as far as the FBI letter that said initially this was a civil case. The forensics analysis letter is out there. So that website is free the IRP6, the number 6, free the IRP6.org.
That's right, .org. And I was telling everybody about that last night, and I am sitting here right now inviting my 1,200 friends. I can't accept everybody because I'm an entertainer and I get stalkers. But I'm going to float this ad constantly. We're going to talk about you guys constantly. I want y'all to call the show anytime you want to express any updates, what's going on. Your good friend of mine, Darcy Della Prosa, I call a little troublemaker. She is all.
That's my friend too.
Darcy, we love ourselves some Darcy, and we found out that we had her in common. And as a matter of fact, it was Darcy, I believe, that told Olivia and Ethel to look up Brenda White.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that because I like uncovering shit. I don't mind. I can cuss on my show. I can broadcast all I want unless the FBI gonna shut me down, you know. Yeah. But otherwise, I'm just a country girl from Aubrey, Arkansas, who cannot stand to see someone wronged, who cannot stand to see injustice. And our slogan here, our motto, said by the great late Reverend Martin Luther King, is injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
That's right.
And so while we're...
I'd like to add one to that. I've used that one before on tweets, and then there's one by Desmond Tutu. Mm-hmm. Basically says, if you're neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor.
Okay. I like that too.
When we have people like Ethel was saying earlier, when you reach out to celebrities, and you know, one thing that really gets me, and it gets all the people who are involved with a Just Cause and the Free the IRP6 situation, is, you know, you tweet and try and reach out to folks, and I know that's how, you know, they ended up reaching you and reaching some other folks. Mm-hmm. But when you see celebrities and people in the media who can do something, and their tweets are all about, I just drove through the drive-thru at McDonald's and bought my kid a Coke.
Mm-hmm. New hairdo today.
Exactly. Anything.
It's
such
like
trivial.
Like you were talking about back in the day when Judge Neal stepped in and was an advocate for the situation
in our hometown
that was going on there. When you have the power to change something, why don't you use that power for something good? Don't just use it to sit and sit.
Yeah, you just can't sit down. I mean, you can't.
Yeah.
I don't know how anyone can. If you have the ability to help spread this truth, you must do it.
Yeah.
And I know truth when I hear it. I know truth when I see it.
Right.
I know body language when I see it. And there's no lying in this story.
That's right.
It's all true. And our government eventually was freed.
Yeah.
But we don't want these guys to do 7 years, 11 years. We don't want them to do another day.
Thank you. And if we have anything to do with it, Brenda, it is not going to happen. Not if we have anything to do with it. And my thing is, too, we're out on Twitter. We're always on Twitter. And if any of your listeners out there are on Twitter and they see anything about the IRP6 wrongful convictions, if they would just tweet back or tweet something.
Yes.
So just to let us know that, hey, we're there.
We're with you.
We agree with you. And also, you know, I wanted to say, there are families involved here. This is not just sick.
Yeah.
We have families. We have small children.
Lives are being destroyed.
They've not been going to a prison before to have to visit their fathers.
Right.
No, this is an environment that's totally something that's new and wild and crazy to them. They don't know what to expect. They don't know what this is all about, really. You've got a young girl that's 12 years old that's now has hypertension, high blood pressure.
Yeah.
You've got a son who's having seizures, violent seizures. Another kid, you know, who's going through all kinds of...
In other words, this is destroying innocent lives.
Exactly, and that's what they do when they send wrong people go to prison. They destroy a whole family.
And if they were from a Wall Street family or something, it never would have happened, number one. But number two, they would be out waiting appeal.
Yeah.
These guys don't deserve to be in any federal prison because someone said they owe them some money. This is bullshit. I'm sorry.
I'm telling you, when the doors swing the other way, Christine Arguello and Matt Kirsch are going to, and Darlene Martinez, the court reporter, they're going to be swapping places with these guys. And we're going to make sure that happens.
Yeah, I mean, y'all go to freetheirp6.org, and to your left, you'll see the story, home, all these sections. Click on the video and watch and listen to this video. And they interview the children of these men too. It will break your heart.
Yes.
And how you can turn away after that, I don't know how you can do it, but I intend to tweet every day something. If you don't tweet nothing but just free the IRP6.
That's right.
Tweet that. Get people involved about this. And remember, it could be you.
That's right.
It could be you. And so I'm just saying.
And just one more time, please have your listeners call Eric Holder's number, 202-514-2003. I mean, ring his phone and ring his phone and ring his phone.
And if you don't say nothing but free the IRP6, if they answer, if you get an answer machine, say that.
That's right.
Just say that.
Right, and ask them how is it that there's a transcript missing in a federal case.
Investigate.
And it's your responsibility, Eric Holder, to deal with that, and your office will do nothing.
That's right.
Your Eric placeholder, that's what I call it.
That's all it is.
Well, he was appointed by Reagan. Okay, so you guys, my heart, like I said, I had to take a hot shower 10 minutes before the show because my heart just gets to beating and palpitating as I hear about this story and I know about it. I'm angry.
Yeah.
Well, and Brenda, if you get an opportunity too, and I would ask your listeners also to, when they're on that Free the IRP6 website, there's actually a tab there that has letters from prison, and the letters are from the IRP6. And when you read those,
which tab is this? Which tab is it on the website?
It is. It's down. If you look on the left side,
mm-hmm.
and it says letters from IRP6.
Okay, very good.
And there you will find letters from the guys and sharing from their heart as to when you are used to being able to take your son out to play golf or used to being able to sleep in a nice bed at night and walk your dog or whatever, and you cannot do that.
You know what? Something
anything wrong to have you in the situation that you're in. These letters from these guys will you talk about touching your heart, it'll touch your heart. And we keep referring to them as the IRP6. Let's put a name to them.
That's right.
Yeah.
We talk, and Ethel was talking about the families. Okay, we got Gary Walker. He's the CEO of IRP. He's the guy that developed the software. Gary is a genius.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you were talking about the guys, being patriotic and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Gary had nothing but the country's best interest at heart when he developed the software.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned at the top of the show how he had developed one version of it, and then after 9/11, he developed the more robust
mm-hmm.
web-enabled version so that federal agencies, local agencies all over the country could be able to share information. That was a problem that contributed to the tragedy on 9/11. And so, Gary also attended the U.S. Air Force Academy. Mm-hmm. He left the Air Force Academy because he had a dream to fly.
Loved his country. Basically, all you're saying is he loved his country.
He loved his country.
He believed in the system.
That's right.
And he did nothing wrong. Yeah, he did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
We appreciate that, and they will definitely appreciate it.
Yes.
There's a group, the family members and some friends who visit the guys every week.
Mm-hmm.
Even that is a testament to some of the other people that are there in the prison,
Mm-hmm.
because they see this and they're like, man, you guys have a serious support system.
All I know is that it could have been me, and if I was in this situation, God knows I would want all the support in the world, somebody to believe in me, and somebody to help spread this story. If we get involved, y'all, somebody just doesn't have to be killed in a situation for us to get involved. These guys' hopes, dreams, their families, that's basically been killed. Them living their free lives has been killed over some bullshit that the court system came up with.
Yeah.
This is the worst frackle-knackle mess I've ever heard. I mean, how do you get 11 years for this? Rapists don't get that.
That's right.
Child molesters, kidnappers.
Okay.
You can cut your wife and whoop her ass and you won't get 11 years. This is really amazing. Guys, our time is coming to an end. Again, I say, any updates, keep me posted. Ethel, I want you to share my email address with the guys. Okay. I'm going to call Judge Neal and share this story, and whatever advice that he might have, we are going to give it to you. It would be my dream that he got involved completely. He's a bit older, and I know he's been a little sick, but I saw him 2 weeks ago. He got sick from having asbestos in his house, and they just found it out and got it out of there. But I love my Godfather. I trust him with my life. He has never let me go wrong. I remember when he was just a defense attorney, and he told, as a matter of fact, he was the CEO of the first government clinic in our city of Marianna, Arkansas. And while he was the CEO of this clinic, he was going to law school in Little Rock. And I was a young girl, militant, and I drove my Godfather about 3 times a week to class while he studied for his next test. And when he finally got his law degree, we laugh about that all the time. Yeah, this young girl, she took me to class, drove me back, let me read, let me study, da-da-da-da-da. And as time passed and he got his law degree, a little black kid raped an old white woman in the city. And his parents came to Ollie crying about, our boy didn't do this and we want you to defend him and blah, blah, blah. And Ollie explained to them that was going to be pretty expensive. And they were ready to put up their homes and their land and everything. And Ollie said, okay, let me talk to your son and your grandson alone. And when they left the room, Ollie said he leaned over and said, okay, you little son bitch, you're going to tell me now, did you rape that old woman or not? I said, did you rape that old woman or not? Yes, sir, I did it. He said, get your ass out my office. You're here ready to let your parents and your grandparents put their homes up and lose everything they got when your little ass was guilty. What you need to do is plead guilty and throw yourself on the mercy of the court, and maybe you won't get life. And he could have taken that case. He could have taken their land and their money.
Yeah.
Because in Lee County, they were surely going to lose. Mm-hmm. But he didn't. He was really pissed with this young black kid for doing that. Mm-hmm. And he would let him know in his court right away. Don't come in here with them sob tears. He would ask, you little son bitch, did you do this? He has always been a fair man. And so I will send this story to him to listen to at his leisure. And like I said, any letters that you guys got that you want me to send to him, please do. But if there is someone fair and knows the federal judicial system, it is my Godfather, whom I love as if he had given birth to me. And that is retired Judge Ollie Neal. I love y'all too. We family now, okay?
All right.
We are family now. I want y'all to hold on the line. Let me introduce to you my niece Jackie, who's been my co-host for over 2 years, and this was her last night, and she did not want to miss this show. So I'm going to put y'all on hold, and I'm going to give her a call, okay?
Okay.
I'll be right back. Stay with me.
All righty.
Okay, and to you, the audience, y'all stay with me too. This is my friend Janine Latrice Perez out of Little Rock, Arkansas. And I just think that Strange Fruit is so fitting today to play. So y'all listen up. You are listening to Let's Talk About It. I am the wild and wonderful Brenda White, coming to you live right here at Spreaker.com, the #1 broadcasting network on the net. All right, let's go.
Southern trees bearing strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root. Black bodies swinging in the southern breeze. Strange fruit hanging on the poplar trees. Pastoral scenes of the gallant South, the bulging eyes and the twisted mouth, scents of magnolias, sweet and fresh. The sudden smell burning flesh. Here is the fruit for the crows to pluck, for the rain to gather, and the wind to drown. This is the strange. This is the strange. This is the strange.
You are listening to Let's Talk About It, sponsored by the #1 broadcasting network on the net. And that's Spreaker, that's Spreaker, that's Spreaker, that's .com. That is absolutely right, Brenda White. You are listening to Let's Talk About It, and my blood is boiling tonight. Okay, but on the line, we now have my co-host, the uppity and well-read Jacqueline Lambert, a.k.a. Miss Uppity Speaks. We also have on the line an advocate for the IRP6, Ethel Lopez, Sam, and Cliff. And Sam and Cliff were a part, or is a part, of the company. Have they dissolved the company? Did they throw it out? Are you guys still able to work? Tell me about that, Sam, Cliff.
Well, as far as that goes, after the raid had occurred, IRP continued to attempt to do business, and that's one of the things that Cliff had spoke about early on. The government impeded the company from being able to do business. They actually contacted the Department of Homeland Security and said, don't do business with them. We contacted the Department of Homeland Security. We had a couple of contacts there, Stephen W. Cooper and Bill Witherspoon, Paul Tran. Those were folks that we were working with who were working on that project that you had mentioned before, as far as the Consolidated Enforcement Environment Initiative. And Bill Witherspoon point blank said that we can't talk to you right now because you guys are being investigated. And it's like, what company, as far as a federal contractor, especially the major contractors like Lockheed Martin and IBM and so forth, there's a website dedicated to being a watchdog for IBM. It's like, what federal contractor company has not been under investigation at some point or another? And they don't pull the plug on them. They continue to give them contracts. And David and Gary, they were trying to do business with the city of Philadelphia. And Cliff shared a little bit about that earlier. The city of Philadelphia got a call from Assistant U.S. Attorney Matthew Kirsch and said that's that famous comment where he said an indictment is coming. And so, how can you? It's like you're accusing people of being a fraudulent operation, not having a legitimate business, not having a legitimate product, and then won't allow them to do business because one sale of that software would allow the business to generate enough revenue to settle all debts. But when you got the magic wand in your hand and you're saying, no, we're going to paint the brush and say that these guys did this, and this. Now, by the way, we're going to ensure that we get a conviction because we ain't going to let them do any business. We're not going to let them generate any revenue. We're not going to let them satisfy their debts.
And in the meantime, who has your product? Who has this software?
Yeah, we have the software, and it's protected and ensures that those who are after to steal it will never get it.
Never.
And
Amen.
We're Gary Walker, the CEO, chief architect of IRP, he had a dream, and we are not going to let his dream die. do. We're going to uphold it. We're going to ensure that it comes to fruition and yields the fruit that it was put in his heart to yield.
That's right.
So, you know, they tried to steal the software when they came in an image-dairy computer. Get what they thought they were. See, they thought they were dealing with a bunch of stupid, uneducated, you know, whatever.
Yokels.
But they're finding out that, you know, we've bitten off more than we can chew. We cannot get these people to stop fighting. They locked them up to try to shut them up, and they continue the fight. And
That's
so,
right.
you know, the software is in hand, and again, it is protected, and we're not gonna let Gary and the other.
Well, I'm so happy to hear that. I'm so happy to hear that because my greatest fear was that you guys had done all this work, created this software, and these bastards stole it and gave it to some other big shit company to steal from you.
Oh no.
I mean, you know, that is the goal.
I mean, they were looking for these financial records, and all the records are laid there in front of them. But they bypass that and say, hey, we're here looking for much more than that, and try to steal it, and then realize, you know what, we don't have what we thought they had. But you know, when I had mentioned earlier, this company SAIC spent $425 million of taxpayer money, then they came up with another another idea to try to replace that, and came up with this Sentinel project that was supposed to be finished in 2012. That failed. So they spent another almost $300 million on that. Then they got another round of funding. So you're looking at about $1.2 billion that they wasted trying to get some software that'll do what the IRP solution software will accomplish. And then you look at it, and we're still having these terrorist attacks. They still don't have collaboration between these different intelligence agencies. And if another 9/11 attack happens, you're going to have blood on the hands of all these people because they locked up the men who have the solution. And you have things like that, and it's like, okay, you're telling me that we could have prevented this, but you guys locked up the people that were able.
Yeah, that's kind of stupid, isn't it?
It is real stupid.
Stupid and hateful and anything else that you can think of. Darcy Della Prosa, our friend here in the chat room, has also given another website, everybody, for you to check out, and it's PINTEREST. Is that Pinterest?
Pinterest, yeah.
.com/Irish Green Eyes 2/justice -4 -the IRP6. But if y'all just go over to the IRP6 page on Facebook, give it a like, I'm sure you will find more than enough links to check this out. But also, if you just go to www.freetheirp6.org, you can get the whole story there. Look for the tabs to the left. It'll say stories, photos, videos, the letters from IRP6. And as I stated earlier, every week on this show, I'm going to read one of the letters from the IRP6. It's going to be called my Free the IRP6 segment. We have the Negro Please list, and we have the Dumbass Comment of the Week, and now we're going to have Free the IRP6 segment, and I'm going to read one of these letters from these upstanding, educated, intelligent brothers, sons, uncles, fathers who were locked up for no damn good reason other than frackle-knackle bullshit. Okay, so having said that, I want to thank my guests for being on the show tonight. And again, I know me and Ethel and and Sam and all us are going to be emailing and talking this stuff. And I want to request of my listeners and my friends, just go to Twitter and Facebook just one day. And y'all know me, I'm finna make an ad, right? I'm fixing to make a flyer. Y'all grab that and share it. I'm going to send out the flyer free the IRP6, and I'm going to send it all the time. Y'all get sick of it, then help me send it around, and maybe I won't flood y'all with it so much. Or you can unfriend me, which I'm sure I won't be losing much. But I'm just telling you, it could be you. It could be your family member.
That's right.
And you ought to not forget that, and you ought to want some support. Now, once again, don't forget we're approaching our $125,000 mark for the Grace of Jake movie to be filmed in Forest City, Arkansas. We have 8 days left. We need $53,000. You all have given us $71,000, and I can't believe it. Y'all just keep on doing it. But we need $125,000 in 8 days. Don't stop giving. Come here to the Brenda White page and listen to the Grace of Jake audio, or go straight to Kickstarter.com and search the Grace of Jake, and you can give $1 and up. And of course, the more you give, the more things are offered. But once again, we got some great stars starring in this film. And Jordan Sparks, 2007's American Idol winner, has signed on. She will be the preacher's daughter and the girlfriend to Jake Hayes. Okay, so now, tonight is Jackie's last night on the show for a while. She's a little busy. But if her feathers get a little turned up, y'all know she's going to be back in here to talk about it. And I know you fans are going to miss Jackie cursing every now and then, because she doesn't curse.
But I try to, though.
But she tries to.
I just don't do it well.
And if she had the opportunity tonight, she would have been on here saying, those motherfuckers are just doing nothing but cheating these guys out of their business. She would have had the opportunity to cuss, and I know y'all are going to miss her with her trying to cuss. But
well, Brenda, may I just stick something in there?
Yes, please.
Before we wrap this up, because you said we were going to go over. So
yes, we're going over.
Okay. All right. So I just want to add one other thing to this story. You know, one of the things that you guys were talking about was why would they do this, and this is bullshit, and this and the other thing. Since 9/11, everyone understands that the security state has made a lot of people really rich, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we all got that. And a lot of these companies, you know, this is the way that politicians subsidize their friends. Like these hundreds and millions and billions of dollars that they have been handing over to these big companies for nothing is just another way to subsidize them.
Right.
Since September 11th, all of the counties surrounding Washington, D.C. and Washington, D.C. itself, they have the top 4 richest counties in the nation. And that wealth has been created through the security state that's been built up. Mm-hmm. So the software itself, it's not just, I don't believe it's just that there are these 5 intelligent black men who stand to become billionaires because they've created a software that works. The other thing is that the people who are policing the government, they stand to lose a ton of dough.
Mm-hmm. And they don't care whether their product works or not. They just don't want to lose the money. They don't want to lose all these millions.
They're gonna lose their subsidies. And for some of these corporations, for some of the businesses that have sprung up since 9/11, there would be no reason for them to be in business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Mm-hmm. So, you know, this is really, really deep. And what shocked me the first time I read this was that no one gets 11 years in prison for having outstanding financial obligations.
Okay, we all would be locked up.
Look, we don't have debtor's prison anymore. Mm-hmm. And so how the DOJ took what was a local civil matter and turned it into a federal criminal case is astounding. This is absolutely astounding.
Frackle-knackle bullshit. That's what it was.
But, you know, the thing about it is that you guys are really going up a lot against some incredibly powerful and well-connected influence.
But that is no reason to ever give up.
That's right. No.
Right.
Okay.
I wasn't even
It
suggesting
didn't
that.
matter how big he was. It just mattered that he was a giant that needed to die.
Oh.
Okay.
That's it. There you go.
Absolutely.
They're going down.
As much as I hate that this story exists, I'm glad that Ethel and Olivia called me. I'm glad to get involved in this story. And so if something happened to me, y'all, this story set it off, okay? Because I am not going to stop. I'm not going to be quiet. They can call me crazy and whatever else, but I'm fixing to get involved. And you better get involved too, because I'm telling you, it could be your ass next or my ass.
That's right.
Whenever you think that you're sitting at home, and they only created this thing because of the news reports of how we were infiltrated and all this stuff. They decided to, he was bright enough, Gary, to come up with this software. He didn't do nothing wrong.
No.
That's right.
Except he was going to be taking some money away from jerks who wasn't doing shit for us in security, and they were going to not get those contracts, government contracts anymore. The IRP6 would have, and you know what? That is so fair. If you got a better product in America, you can create a better product, and then somebody else gets left behind. Or why don't they team up? Why didn't they sell? Got to get rid of your ass.
And Brenda, there were opportunities for teaming.
I knew you were going to tell me that. I just knew it because I was just sitting there saying to myself, as big as IBM is and Lockheed Martin, why didn't they just offer these guys $50 billion if the product's worth $100 billion?
Well, they wanted the whole shooting match.
Yeah, and
when there were discussions on teaming agreements with some of the major defense contractors, they did not want to sign the teaming agreements. They did not want to sign the non-disclosure agreements as written by IRP.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to have something that was so loosely written that had no teeth in it, to where they would just, obviously just steal the software.
Mm-hmm.
They did not want to sign something that would prevent them from stealing the software.
Of course not, because that was their
intent.
intent.
Gary and David were not about to allow them to sign anything like that.
And damn well they shouldn't have. I helped a friend who had a company teach HIPAA. And she created this software also where you would have to come to this company and sign on and pay your fee and get your HIPAA training and da-da-da-da-da. And she had all this prevention set up against it. And some big company up in Philadelphia or somewhere was begging for her. And I can remember we had been working about 24 hours that day. I have gone downstairs to cook everybody some dinner, and I come back up and my friend's on the phone, and they're supposed to give her this check for $100,000 before she gives them the next segment to the software. And they're saying, but we've already written the check. We delivered. They created a phony tracking number and all this mess. That didn't come up. And I'm standing there. I'm the only black person in the company. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because we know. Don't do it. Don't get it. Once you give them that, they going to lock you out. Don't do it. And she did it.
Wow.
She ended up.
Brenda, even in this situation, kind of taking you back a little bit, where when IRP was first contacted by the Department of Homeland Security, they did demos, and then Department of Homeland Security had what they call Industry Day. Industry Day is where they call all of the major defense contractors together and say, hey, come listen to our pitch. We want to show you guys what we are looking for. Now go your ways and come back to us with your best shot at it. So, they just kind of lay it out. Here's what we're looking for. You go and come and develop something and then present it to us. At that meeting, the Department of Homeland Security told several of the other companies about IRP, and basically said that IRP has developed something that we know will work for us. Now, IRP is a startup, So we're suggesting that there be a teaming agreement. But if you want to get in on some of this action, you better talk to those guys over there and see if you can get into a team agreement. The whole presentation that the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI presented, even at that industry day, basically reflected the IRP Silk software, and so it's the Case Investigative Lifecycle software. You mentioned it earlier at the time. Its acronym is CILC, but it's pronounced Silk. The whole Silk software basically was outlined in the Department of Homeland Security presentation. And Gary and David, they're looking at this presentation. They're like, man, that's our software.
Yes.
And so the Department of Homeland Security is basically telling everybody that we want something that looks like this, and the Department of Homeland Security already knows that IRP has something that looks like that. But like I said, nobody wanted to, and several of them did. Like I said, they wanted to try and team, but they didn't want a team. They wanted to steal.
Yeah.
And they did not want to sign the documentation that would protect IRP. And like you said, Gary and David they're not dummies.
Why couldn't they just give y'all $100 million and then a contract to work with them? Okay, and let us put our name on it. They could have come up with something to offer you, and it wouldn't have even been worth. It would have been worth much more than $100 million. But y'all might have thought about taking it and then working with them on a percentage level. But no, they just gonna take it from your ass and not allow you, just because they want to keep getting these government contracts. And that's why these old bastards continue to want war. People like John McCain that always calling for a damn war. Get your ass in a foxhole. Their friends have to keep these government contracts. All this shit is intertwined, and it just makes my butt want to dip a snuff. Sorry, Jackie. You were saying? Jackie, you mustn't laugh at me. That encourages me to clown more.
I know. I'm just so very sorry. What I was about to say is that this is the MO of American corporations these days. That they want to steal, and they're working very hard to keep all innovation out. If there's anything new, groundbreaking, if they can't steal it, they try and kill it. And I want everybody to realize, too, that this is just like it was back at the turn of the 20th century. The robber barons, the guys who were the mining kings, and the guys who were the railroad kings. It's the same thing. I mean, that's why when Roosevelt came into office and he, the thing about crushing the trusts and killing the monopolies, this is exactly the same. This is exactly the same thing. The 21st century version of the robber barons. That's all it is. And anyone who has something that's new and groundbreaking. In the article, I read about a meeting that you guys had with someone who formerly worked for Motorola and said, what are you going to do when the big boys find out?
Yep, I was just getting ready to share that story. And that was a family member of mine who, I say family member very loosely, because when you look for support from someone, like you said, Brenda, as far as we treat each other as family when we're dealing with this. But there are other folks who don't lift a finger when you really need something, and they know how to get it done, and not stepping up to the plate. But that is one statement that he made years ago when we had met with him, and he said, what are you going to do when the big boys come? We had no idea.
Right.
Now the thing is, he was in mergers and acquisitions for Motorola, and so we kind of had discussions about that even later, in the sense that he was kind of like a pharaoh, so to speak, in the sense that he knew what he was saying. He knows how that world works. He knows that probably because he has done it to people himself. He knows how to get in there and create some sort of agreement, leave a crack in there just enough to where, okay, I'm going to come and snatch everything you own because it's going to line my pocket. the way bonus structures are set up. I mean, look at the banking industry. Look at the mortgage industry. You know, the government bails them out, and everybody still walks away with millions.
And they continue to put people out of their homes as they continue to settle lawsuit after lawsuit out of court. They just settled a lawsuit for $26 billion, Bank of America, aka Countrywide. They just settled a lawsuit for $26 billion for wrongdoing of homeowners.
Nobody went to jail.
Not one some bitch went to jail, and it doesn't look like one son of a bitch is going to jail. The last story that infuriated me, just like this IRP6 story has infuriated me, they evicted a disabled vet from his home, and he was paid up a month or two in advance. They had the wrong lot number. They went to court. This poor homeless, poor vet was in there saying to them, "This is not the lot number of my house here. I'm paid up." And who the hell was this judge that sat there and didn't even demand an independent person to go and check this out? Okay, you can't trust them. You don't know him. You don't want to trust the homeowner. You can't trust Bank of America because they've lost every lawsuit that's ever come their way and just paying out of court. And you would think that the judge would hire an independent person, land surveyor or something, to go out and say, okay, was that his lot number? Is it? That's not his lot number. You got records on file. For every damn piece of land that's owned.
That's right.
Every gnat hut that's owned, you got a record on it. And they evicted this man from his home.
Well,
and 30 days later, he died. And you know what they said? Sorry, it wasn't intentional. We admit we had the wrong lot number. Why didn't you pay attention to that and go and research that when the homeowner was crying out in court, in letters, telling you, this is not my lot number. Here's my payment slips. I'm paid up. La, 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 la. No, they evicted this man. And 30 days later, he died. Y'all have heard me talk about this story. And his neighbor was so infuriated by this that he filed a wrongful death suit against Bank of America. He said because what they absolutely did to him killed him.
Yep.
And these big companies continue to walk all over us. I've been in this battle with them over my home, and every time I win around, it just makes them more angry. They stop taking my money. I'm going through it too. But I tell you what, y'all can look for me on YouTube. The day they come to evict me, I'm going to show my ass. I want to know how you get a foreclosure on me when you returned my payments. I want to know how you get a foreclosure on me when I responded to the court and answered with a 150-page answer and all the copies of these checks. And the court didn't notify me of the date, and they got a foreclosure. Well, y'all come on over here because I'm going to show my ass. Because this is sickening.
Brenda, one thing we didn't talk about, and kind of like what you're talking about here as far as the way cases are initiated and so forth.
Yeah.
In the IRP case, and we talked a little bit about the raid, well, the warrant that authorized the raid was fraudulent. And I say fraudulent because of the fact that the FBI agent, Special Agent John Smith, he got a judge to sign off on a warrant, and you probably read a little bit about this, Jackie, where it says that IRP is purportedly developing software. So in essence, he went to the judge and said, hey, Judge, we got this company that is, we believe they're conducting fraudulent activity. We believe that they are a front. They say they're developing software. We don't believe that. So please sign here because we're going to go after them because they're purportedly developing software. Yeah. Before he even got that warrant signed, he knew that IRP had some, as consultants, IRP had in-house retired federal agents, had retired FBI, retired Customs and Enforcement agents, had retired NYPD detectives on board, on staff as consultants to help to develop the software because they did want to develop the best in class, best in the world software. Special Agent Smith reached out to the retired agents who were working at IRP and basically said, hey, we're investigating IRP. You guys are federal agents. You're retired federal agents, but tell us what's going on. Basically almost pulling them into a double agent kind of situation. Is the company real? Are they really developing anything? What's going on? We have sworn affidavits from the federal agents, and as part of the court records, that say IRP is a legitimate business. Yes, IRP is talking to federal agencies in Washington, D.C. Yes, IRP is really developing software, and not only are they developing software, they're developing good software. And we believe in the company, and we want to stick around because we know that they're getting ready to sell this stuff. We want to stick around so we can get paid too.
And it's as if the judge was sitting there.
That warrant signed, even though he already knew that IRP was legit.
Yeah.
So it's like he knew already that IRP was legit, but he still went to a judge after the fact saying that this is a front company that might be developing software, or really we don't believe they're developing software, and then execute a raid with 22 agents against
And another reason this case should be thrown out is because the warrant said financial records.
And it was invalid.
And they didn't take not one damn financial record.
That's right.
Just all your they even Jackie, Sam and Cliff said that they took the janitor's computer.
Everybody
didn't get no damn. They laid the financial records out for them. Here you go. Look at this. And they didn't take none of that. So everything that they brought to the courtroom should be inadmissible because they didn't even tell the judge didn't tell you to go there and get that shit. They said they were looking into their financial records. I ain't no damn lawyer, but sounds like
in cahoots and helping out the prosecutor. It's like, you try to get all this stuff thrown out. Every objection you throw out, she denies. Every motion you put in, she denies. So it's like, okay, what is going on here? They talk about a conspiracy. When you watching the judge conspire with the prosecutor to ensure that 6 men go to prison, and then give them 7 to 11 years for mail fraud and wire fraud.
Okay.
Y'all are trying to shut these men up. That's all you're trying to do.
Trying to shut them up, and hopefully they won't produce this software and make some money. Exactly. Put a stop to it.
By that time, they were hoping they would have the software. Exactly. I was about to say, Brenda, this is just this is to try and hold them up.
Yeah.
They're buddies.
Yeah, and if we get their computer, now here's what we got. Now y'all take this and work with it and steal their ideas and hope y'all can. Now we got them in jail, so y'all better invent it while they in there.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, which still you can sue their asses for infringement.
That's why what I was telling you before about they had they were making reference to the software in the textbook.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Their textbook on how to do basically criminal investigation. The school that they send their detective, their investigators, and they're talking about the Silk software in their textbook. And then the FBI agent John Smith said this is purported software company after he had talked to this subject matter expert, the retired federal agent. He had talked to the Department of Homeland Security. He had talked to NYPD. He had talked to Orange County, Florida. He had talked to Kings County, New York. He had talked to all these people that we were in contact with, and still came up with this lying search warrant and got a judge to sign it.
Mm-hmm. Barry Jackson in the chat room says corporate Jim Crow.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, Jackie, you know what? I was sitting here listening to this, I just thought from the movie Ghost, Molly, you in danger, girl. Y'all were just in danger from the minute you created this software. How dare you little pickaninnies create something that keep us from stealing and collecting.
It's because even when some of the other companies, the competitors, even when they would call and, they ask, how big is your company? How many employees? Like, well, we got about maybe 20 people. 20 people? What are you talking? How's 20 people and 20 black people creating some software like this when they got 1,000 engineers?
See, that's your problem right there. You weren't supposed to be inventing nothing like this.
That's right.
Only white men can do that. No offense to you white.
Colorado Springs.
No offense to all you white brethren out there. Y'all know I ain't got nothing against white men. I married one. I divorced him, but I married him. But he's still a good person. But right now, we on your ass because y'all did this shit. And that's why I have to call you out. I don't care if you green. You did this shit, and it's low down. It's frackle-knackle. That's all I got to say. Okay, so we've given an extra half hour to the show, but this is not the last time that you have heard from Ethel and Sam and Cliff. They're going to be calling here like I'm the Rachel Maddow show reporting shit. So y'all get ready. This is not the last time you've heard from me. And let's talk about the IRP6. Now, unless the FBI gets to Spreaker and say, even if she pay you her money, she can't be on the air no more. That's okay, too. I can still take a selfie video and put it on YouTube. But I'm going to continue to talk about this story. Now, let me say that I am so sad to lose my niece who knows everything. Jackie must have read 20,000 books, and she is like a junkie. Some folk want to crack pipe. Jackie wants a book. So all she wants for Christmas, birthday, wedding anniversary is a book. Just give her a book, and she is in seventh heaven. And so until I make her come on, tonight is her last night. And I want to say good night to you. Thank you for listening. Share this story. Keep the IRP in your mouth. Again, just write free the IRP6. Just write it every day. No, just like you said, thank you, Jesus. Just write that and let this thing start to infest over the internet. And that's what we wanted to do because we need support. The more support we got, the more chance we have of having this damn case dismissed and these 6 young men go free. Okay, so in honor of Jackie and her last night, I'm playing for you, Jackie. I love you so much. Thank you for these 2.5 years for Let's Talk About It. This is Sylvester. You are my friend. I love you. You have been listening to Let's Talk About It with the uppity and well-read Jacqueline Lambert, and I am your host, the wild and wonderful Brenda White. I'll see you right back here next Tuesday night. You are listening to Let's Talk About It, sponsored by the #1 broadcasting network on the net. And that's Spreaker, that's Spreaker, that's Spreaker, that's .com.
This song is dedicated to all of you. Goes like this. You are my friend. I never knew So I met them 3 years ago. Was it February, Martha? February. 3 years ago. Little audition we held on 6th Avenue in Judah. I will not forget. We had our first rehearsal in a Volkswagen on our way to Marin County. And these girls have stuck with me all through everything, y'all, and they're here right now. I want you to know that. You see, I don't know if y'all have noticed it or not, but these women can sing, y'all. Honey, your ear has to be in your foot to not hear these women can sing. They don't need these dresses. They don't need them juries. They don't need that hair. These women can sing, y'all. Now, folks say seeing is believing, right? I done told you everything I could tell you. Now it's their turn to tell you. Mama, you've been